live concert, but there's
Hmm.
also just the continuation of that story, and it's just like, and the ending for it, I'm like, oh my god, what? Just like everyone's just been screaming about it. So
Okay, so they put out a
yeah.
movie. Okay, and is
Yeah.
that and that's a continuation of their albums? Yeah, is there a one
Uh
storyline throughout?
yeah, there's a
Yeah,
continual storyline because
yeah, that's right.
with the
Yeah,
exception of the current iteration, every single album has been like a different pope. So you got like, the first one,
yeah,
and
that's
then
right.
he
Yeah.
dies, and the second one, and then this current guy, and it's like, well, he's had two, and everyone's like, well, his time's running out. He's gonna die at some point, where everyone's just expecting that that's what's gonna happen in this. At the end of this show, he's gonna die, and there's just so much
Interesting.
lore, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just,
okay.
oh my god, it's great.
Hmm.
Loved it.
Yeah, cool. Because someone dresses up kind of like, what
Mm.
is his name? Papa Emeritus?
Yeah, Papa Emeritus, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Someone kind of dresses up like him in this movie we're going to cover.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah, I
Yeah.
noticed that's very ghostish there, actually.
Yeah.
Um,
Although
yes.
this came before Ghosts.
Yeah, okay. Okay, well, there you go. So you're a
Yeah.
fan of Ghost, yeah?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I like their
I've
aesthetic.
seen
I
him
like,
live. Yeah, I've seen him live twice. Like, yeah,
sure.
their aesthetic versus like what their
Yeah,
music
you
sounds
know what
like
I'm
is very,
saying.
very different.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
so
that
I
is right.
understand people not liking them.
Mm,
I like them for the theatricality. Like,
yeah,
if nothing else, if you like performances and that level of effort and theatricality and everything, like, watch a live
yeah,
show, because
yeah.
it is just absolutely insane. I went and saw them late
Mm,
last year, and that was at the
hmm,
entertainment center. I got dressed up for it and everything, and
hmm.
holy shit, it was incredible. Like, and then yeah, seeing the movie, and I'm like, yeah, I saw this like last year. It's the same performance, a little bit different here and there, but I was still like gobsmacked by how amazing it
Ah,
was.
okay, okay,
Even though
okay.
I'm like, yeah, I know the set list. I've seen this before. I was still like,
A-
holy shit.
and who screened it? Where was it screening?
Um, I went and saw it at Chermside, but it was
Okay.
something that was released in like just globally.
Oh,
Initially, it was only a couple of sessions. I think when I bought the tickets, I think it was only on like a Thursday night and a Saturday afternoon. But then
okay.
there was just so much demand just globally for it that they're like, no, we're gonna put out like more days that it's screening, and also like make it so then other countries actually have access to it as well.
Ah,
So
okay.
it was basically just screening for just a few days and limited screenings as well. But in
Hmm.
various different countries, it's like top 10 or even top five grossing like most popular films for that weekend.
Wow. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Something like that
Yeah.
is so popular.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just having a look here. Uh, do you know the name of it?
Right here, right now, but it's
Yeah,
right
it
as
is.
in like
Okay.
a
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm looking at. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
yeah. And then
Um,
there's this whole
mm,
thing with so the current guy, like his father was like one of the poppers as well, and but then he's there as like a ghost. And there was a little while ago they released a little like EP that was just two songs. It was very 60s, like that's Mary on a Cross and Kiss the Go-Goat, and they're very, very like funky psychedelic 60s kind of thing. And then it's like, these are his songs, we've unearthed them, these are his songs from back in the day. And then in the movie he's like, oh no, I didn't write two songs, I wrote three, huh? And then it's like, whoa, what's this third song? I don't know. And then the song in the end credits is the third song, and I'm just like, oh my god, and I've had that song on repeat. It's so good.
fantastic. I'm very glad you got to see that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Yes.
wasn't at Evil Corp there, Children of the Popcorn.
Mm.
Because I went and saw Battle Royale
Oh yeah,
at
cool.
New Farm. Yeah, which was cool. It was totally
Mm.
sold out. People are
Oh yeah.
sitting on bean bags at the front. Yeah, all of that.
Yeah.
You've seen it, yeah, Battle Royale?
Yes, I have it on
Yeah, yeah.
DVD as well.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an absolute classic, and it was great
Mm,
to revisit it, definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it, people, their children,
Yeah.
and if you like things like The Hunger Games or even Lord of the
Yeah.
Flies, because
Yeah.
I
It
think it's a
is.
combo of
Yeah.
the
It
two. Yeah.
is. Mm, it's like like if you think of like Death Game, any Death Game movie or
Yeah.
series or anything like that, like
Yeah. Yeah.
Battle
Yeah. Yeah.
Royale is the one that like,
Mm.
I mean, obviously that concept happened before Battle Royale, but
Yes, it,
that one
yeah.
is the one that really kind of, when you're talking about Death Game movies,
Mm.
you cannot avoid talking about Battle Royale.
Certainly in current times, in modern
Yeah,
times, definitely. I
yeah.
mean, you're going way back to black and white times with
Mm.
the Most Dangerous
Most
Game, I
Dangerous
think.
Game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
it. That's it. That's the OG.
yeah.
That's the triple OG
Oh,
of
I
all
love
of
that
this
one.
stuff.
I love
Yeah,
that
it's
one.
goody.
Yeah.
It's a goody. Yeah, the story is good to
Mm.
read as well. It's a good read as
Yeah.
well, actually. Yeah, so that was very cool to see. But the biggest treat was seeing the full trailer for Longlegs in a cinema.
Oh,
Yeah. Oh my God,
ah.
Dorian. This fucking movie's gonna be amazing.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, I
I
mean,
listen.
yeah,
Yeah.
I intentionally avoid trailers,
Hmm.
especially if I already know that I'm going to watch the movie. I'm like, well, there's no point in me watching the trailer to try to like entice me into watching the movie. I already know that I'm going to watch it, so I would much rather go in completely blind.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Yes, I virtually always agree with you, except for
mm,
this movie,
yeah.
because the trailer, it is so Easter egg. It is so
Ooh,
laden with occult symbols, but it gives nothing
ooh.
away. It just
Yeah.
conveys tone. Yeah.
Oh.
And on the Boo Crew podcast, check it out, children. It's really good.
Mm,
They interviewed Oz Perkins, yes, son of Norman Bates.
mm.
And yeah, and the way that he was talking about it, basically, it looks like he's created a new Silence of the Lambs for this era. Yeah, this is pretty much what's been touted. So that's my
Yes.
most
Yeah.
anticipated at the moment, definitely.
Yeah. The
Hello,
trailer
children.
for
Mm,
yeah,
please,
the
please
trailer
go.
for Robert Eggers' Nosferatu
Yeah,
came
yeah, yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah,
Again,
yeah.
I haven't watched the trailer. I don't want to
Okay.
know about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
I will
fair.
watch the movie when I watch the movie.
Mm,
I want to be completely surprised, but like, yeah, that trailer's
yeah.
come out, so
It's a great trailer as well. It won't spoil
mm,
anything if you do decide
yeah.
to watch it. It's actually kind of perfect because it's all
Mm.
on beat to the phrase, he is coming, he is coming. Then
Oh, cool.
boom, boom,
Yeah,
boom. Yeah. And that's it. That's it.
cool.
It looks
Yeah.
beautiful, especially Willem Dafoe's going off. He is going
Oh.
ham. Yeah. It's going to be great. Yeah. Um, yeah. So there's still good movies coming, but we are still on the horror iceberg. Hello, welcome to Evil
Yes.
Popcorn. Dorian, how you doing? Glad to have you back. Um, we are progressing down further. We're not up to the really fucked up shit yet. You
No.
put it. This is the actual gateway tier for the actual fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
We covered Texas Chainsaw Massacre recently. That movie has had a great history and a great influence upon filmmakers and culture at large, certainly upon Mr. Rob Zombie, because he
Yes.
created a little film called House of a Thousand Corpses. Yeah. And that's what we're covering today. Dorian, how do you feel about what's your history? How do you feel about this
Oh,
film? And then we'll get on to Rob Zombie. But first
okay.
of all, let's just
All
stay
right.
with the film.
Okay.
Go. Yeah.
So in order for me to talk about my history with the film, I do have to mention the music
Yeah.
in
Okay. All
part.
right. Let's just do it all. Let's just
So
do it all. Go.
yeah, so I was like 14 when I got into Rob Zombie's stuff. And I got the album The Sinister Urge. And on the last track on that
Okay.
album is a song House of a Thousand Corpses.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah, it is.
has like sound bites
Yeah.
from the movie. And at
Yeah.
that point I hadn't seen the movie. I think the movie came out maybe, yeah, I was like a couple of years before I even got onto Rob Zombie. And
Okay.
so
Okay.
I hadn't seen the movie, but like just those sound bites, because I had absolutely no context for it, and I was,
Hmm.
hadn't delved into that kind of stuff just yet, even though I'm out here like loving Rob Zombie's music.
Hmm.
Because it was out of context, it was just so unsettling for me to listen to those snippets
Sure.
for it because I didn't have that
Sure.
context.
Hmm.
Um, and then, but because I was a fan of Rob Zombie and everything, when Devil's Rejects came out in cinemas, I was like, I want to go see it. I remember seeing the poster for it back in the day when, in order for you to know about movie times and movies coming out, you had to look it up in the newspaper. And there'll be like little posters for some of the movies that were coming out. And there was one
Yeah,
for
that's right.
Devil's Rejects. And I'm there like, oh, I want to go see it, but I wasn't old enough to go see it at the time either.
Okay.
So it was a ridiculously long amount of time before I actually got around to watching the movies. And yeah, I watched it and I'm like, oh my God, this movie rules. This movie's so cool. And like, if you've seen Rob Zombie's music videos, like House of a Thousand Corpses, you can really tell that that's where his background is in, like that kind of more stylized kind of thing. But like, yes, I really, really like House of a Thousand Corpses. I have a like action figure, you know, with like the different like hands that you can change out and different accessories and all that kind of thing. It's still in the packaging. I haven't taken it out because I'm like, no, I'll lose everything if I do. Of Captain Spaulding.
No shit.
So he's got like a little thing like fried chicken. One of the hands you can have is him, you know, flipping people off and all that kind of thing. And I got that from a friend for my 21st. And yeah, so I've got like, that's how much I'm like, you know, my friend was like, no, I know what I'm buying Dorian for their birthday. So
that's fucking awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome. Okay, before I go, let's cover all of the bases now, because as you are ultimately aware, Rob Zombie, in terms of him being a filmmaker, there's a lot of arguments to or pro or against Rob Zombie as a filmmaker, to say the least. This is one of the big discourses of horror. Should he be allowed to make films, basically? What do you reckon? What do you reckon of his maybe say that word?
House of Thousand Corpses stylistically is very, very different to his later films.
Absolutely, yeah.
I recently did like a rewatch of like his main lot. Lords of Salem is tonally completely different to almost pretty much everything else that he does. Lords of Salem is very, very like slow build, suspense. It's a lot more restrained. And I would absolutely love to see him do another movie in that tone. But for the most part, his movies are like, if you've seen Devil's Rejects, which is the sequel to House of Thousand Corpses, if you've seen that, that is essentially the tone of all his movies beyond that, including his movies of him doing Halloween and Halloween 2, and then 31, and then obviously you have 3 from Hell, which is the third in the Firefly trilogy, which is what House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects are known as being part of. But, you know, so it's very, if you like them, you'll like them, but if you don't like them, you're going to fucking hate them. You know? Because he seems to just write pretty much the exact same characters all the time.
Yeah, certainly in terms of his villains, that's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, and when I rewatched 31, it just, it was so frustrating because I'm there, because I watched it shortly after it came out, and I was really, really disappointed by it. And then I recently rewatched it, having not seen it since. So I'm like, oh, well, who knows what my thoughts on it are going to be now. My thoughts are exactly the same.
Okay.
You have these really like wild and wacky kind of characters that in House of a Thousand Corpses, it worked in terms of like the Firefly family. It worked. And I think the reason why it worked in that movie was because that movie tonally felt a little bit cartoony and strange. And not as, you know, gritty and based in reality. And so those characters being a little bit cartoony and strange, it worked. But in 31, it had that gritty realism kind of vibe that he was trying to achieve. But then he had these wacky characters and it just didn't fit. And so while you have a character like Captain Spaulding looking amazing and being iconic, you have all these characters in 31 that could easily, you know, be a similar iconic character, but they're not. And then all of the violence in that movie is shot so close up, you can't see anything that's happening anyway. All the violence. You can't even tell what's going on. What's the point?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. Yeah.
The opening scene with Richard Brake giving his monologue to that priest, fantastic. I adore that opening scene, but everything beyond that, nah.
Yeah, okay. I guess to round up what you're saying, do you think he should continue to make films?
I mean, I'll go and watch every new movie that he makes. I will go
Because
and watch
you've
it.
even seen The Munsters, haven't you?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Yeah.
That one lent too hard into the camp and cheesiness to a point where it just wasn't fun. It was just cringy. And Sherry Moon, her acting was absolutely atrocious.
Ouch. Okay. And that's the most recent film that he did was The Munsters,
yes.
Yeah. Okay. A couple of years ago for Netflix. Okay, good. Okay. Rob Zombie grew up in the 90s, absolutely loved him. Man could do no wrong. Certainly with the album Hellbilly Deluxe, that was an absolute favorite among me and friends. Yeah. Still played at Evil Corp to this day, and still played, at the goth clubs and that sort of thing. That album stands up to this day, and it certainly was a favorite. And that was my favorite album of his. His other music's fine, but like his movies, it kind of lessened in impact, as it went on, in my opinion. I do like this film, yes. After rewatching it, I still do like it. Absolutely loved it back in the day. It was perfect, For me and my friends back in the day, this was the film. We watched it many, many times, just drinking, smoking, put it on in the background, even if we're not watching it, Firefly trilogy, really cool. The Family I absolutely love. Devil's Rejects, I watched the trilogy recently again for this. Devil's Rejects, I think, stands up really well. I actually think that is a very cool, road horror film, whatever you want to call it. Three from Hell is pretty good, all things considered. Passing of Sid Haig, rest in peace. Had to get a new guy in. It was near 15 years later, but I thought they still pulled it off pretty well. And I think next to Lords of Salem, it's the best work Sherry Moon's done for her husband. Yeah, I think in Three from Hell. Overall, his films, yes, I do enjoy them. I am Lords of Salem or Devil's Rejects. I'm not sure. They're the two best, in my opinion. Definitely the two best. 31, I agree, is where, okay, this gimmick's starting to wear a bit thin at this stage. And the Halloweens are cool. Yeah, no, I actually like his Halloweens as much as they are hated by a lot of people, the Halloween stands. And Munsters, I haven't seen. I'll put it on at some point. I agree with you with his music videos. Definitely, that's what he brought to House of a Thousand Corpses, and also being an oddities, a curiosities man, a Universal Monsters fan, probably the biggest on the goddamn planet. His music videos are classic MTV style. Certainly. Living Dead Girls, the goddamn cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
And then,
I was reminded of that
Dracula,
watching it last night. Yeah, go for it. Dracula.
And Dracula is very Clockwork Orange as well.
Yeah, that's right. It goddamn is, isn't it? Yeah. So this guy is a movie man, absolutely. I thought more should have been made out of Return of the Phantom Stranger from that album, but that's a complete aside. That was my favorite from that album. But House of a Thousand Corpses, made in 2000 and released in 2003. Rob Zombie certainly threw all of his shit at the wall for this movie. And he definitely approached it like it was creating a theme park ride.
Because I mean that was the origin of the whole thing, because he was creating haunted mazes for their Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. And from that he ended up coming up with the idea of House of a Thousand Corpses for one of the mazes, and Universal was like, hell yeah, dude, make a movie for it.
Make a movie out of that.
Majority of the movie was filmed on the Universal backlot. Some of the while the park was still operating and all that, so some of the daytime shots and everything ruined because, you know, there goes the Jaws ride
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
the old Bates, the building for Bates Motel, that's where they had the catering set up in there.
No shit.
So yeah,
Ah, that's awesome.
So, but after a while, I guess Universal saw a little bit too much of the dailies or whatever, and ultimately was like,
Yeah,
what are
no.
you doing?
Yeah.
This is gonna be an NC-17 rated
You're
movie,
a
and we don't
crazy
want.
person.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is a celebration of depravity. We
Yeah.
don't want this, and it's going to be rated something that we don't want to release something rated that high.
Yeah.
See ya. We want nothing
Yeah.
to do with this.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he was able to buy back the rights to it,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually shopped around and eventually picked it up with
Lionsgate.
Lionsgate, yeah.
Yeah, Lionsgate Entertainment.
Eventually
Now,
Lionsgate picked it up, and that's
now
also
Dorian.
the external
Okay.
of
Okay.
another fun thing, external
Yeah.
of the house in House of Thousand Corpses.
Mm.
Do you know what that house is? It's the house
No.
used in the best little whorehouse in Texas.
That's right. Yes, yes, I did read that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah, I have the
Which
movie.
is
I have the movie
the connotations
on DVD.
of
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Hilarious.
I have the movie on DVD, and one of the special features was director's commentary. But yeah, a lot of the behind the scenes stuff got lost because of everything that was going on with, you know, Universal canning it.
Yeah.
So there isn't all that much in the way of behind the scenes stuff, unfortunately.
No, there's
But,
not, because because he wanted to make a director's cut as well at some point as well, because a lot of the more gruesome stuff has gone bye-bye. But he's unsure of that because, of the mess around between the studios, a lot of it's gone missing. Now, back to the studios, I wanted to touch on Lionsgate, because we have looked at A Nightmare on Elm Street being New Line Cinema, being the house that Freddie built. The Firefly family are a little bit of the family that Lionsgate built, because like Nightmare, New Line Cinema took a chance on it, and Lionsgate took a chance on House of a Thousand Corpses, to eventually, not soon after, a few years later, they came out with Saw.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of that with this. Yeah. Yeah.
Everything's connected.
Everything is connected, absolutely. So and for the haters of Rob Zombie's films, I get it. Yeah, I mean, this film is a mess. I think it's highly enjoyable. I think it's lots of fun, but it is an absolute mess. There's reveals are terrible. He spoils the reveals, buries the lead constantly. Absolutely no subtext whatsoever. It is basically like a music video theme park ride. All this shit on the wall from Rob Zombie's house put together.
Yeah, I mean, there's some stuff in the film that was literally filmed in his basement.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Sherry Moon Zombie getting freaky with the skeleton.
Yeah. All of that
the credit
grainy
sequence. The credit sequence was done in the basement. Yeah.
All the grainy, like lo-fi footage interspersed throughout. That was primarily just shot in his basement. There was a couple of things that were like using like special effects stuff, and that was shot in an effects studio. But for the most part, like, as in, you know, he's just like, oh, you know, can we just like come by the studio and, you know, just set something up in the corner and just shoot it and fuck off? Like, yeah, sure. But yeah, for the most part, those things were just shot in his basement.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, just to wrap it up, a preamble here. I'll still watch anything he puts out, because Rob Zombie to this day, he's a dude. He's a really cool guy, and he's championed all the shit that we're into for a long ass time, and been a big part of it, still being a big reality today in entertainment and culture. So I'm all for Rob Zombie, absolutely. And the cast he has in this movie are just killer. It's packed with absolute legends. But we'll get into that as we go. I think that was a really good preamble that gets the basic info about leading up to how this film came to be created. So let's get into it.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Please jump in at any time. Okay. After an opening black and white segment of a TV horror host named Dr. Wolfenstein, the assistant was Rob Zombie.
Yes. Initially, he was
Please.
going to be the host. He was going to be Wolfenstein. But all the makeup and everything that they had him on, you know, all done up as a character, and he's like, I don't look that much different to me normally.
They're gonna go
I don't
2
want to
minutes
do
into the film.
this.
There's zombie. Yeah, bit on the
So
nose.
he's the assistant.
Yeah. And yeah, Wolfenstein. Yeah, it's basically Tales from the Creep. What? Tales from the Creeps. What is it called? Dorian, help.
Crypt.
Crypt. Thank you. Tales from the Creeps. Yeah, all of that sort of thing. Yeah. Wolfenstein, it's an old arcade game where you got to kill Nazis back in the day, so it's playing a little bit on that as well. Yeah. And it's introducing a Halloween movie marathon. There is a TV commercial advertisement where an old redneck clown named Captain Spaulding, Sid Haig, introducing his tourist attraction titled Captain Spaulding's Museum of Monsters and Madmen, which is a place featuring serial killer attractions and fried chicken. Spicy, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you know of Sid Haig before this? Before Captain Spaulding?
I didn't.
No, neither.
But then I haven't seen him in all that much. Like the one that I've seen from like back in the day with him in it is Spider Baby.
Yeah, that's the one he's known for otherwise. Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen much else with him in it though. Like, I mean, for me personally, I know him from Rob Zombie's work. But I know that he's got he had a long running career in movies and horror movies. So,
yeah. Which is good to point out at this stage. Zombie as a filmmaker is Tobe Hooper meets Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah. You'll see what we mean by Hooper as we go along. But Haig is just one of the old school actors that Zombie loved growing up that he's brought back into his films to revitalize his career at the end of days. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. He does that a lot. Yeah. Like the mother Karen Black. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he also does that for Karen Black in this film. Which I appreciate, which I really like when directors do that, definitely.
And then
okay.
In Devil's Rejects, you got Michael Berryman, you got Ken Foree,
yes.
Many other actors, iconic actors. It's great.
Yeah. And he also gets in, and I use the word freak lovingly because I love freaks.
Yes.
There's a great freak in this film as well. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Now, Captain Spaulding's Museum of Monsters and Madmen. It's a rundown gas station out in the middle of nowhere near the small Texas town of Rugsville. Now, it's important to note that Zombie's whole thing is kind of a psycho hillbilly from hell vibe.
I've heard the way that when Dead Meat covered House of 1,000 Corpses.
Okay, please.
James referred to it as hellbilly.
Hellbilly,
as a genre,
absolutely.
Hellbilly, and that sums it up. It's very much like rednecks who are rednecks, white trash, and they will not hesitate to murder people just for fun.
Yeah,
not because someone fucked them over or anything like that, just because it's fun.
Totally for the lols. Totally for the lols. Also, hence Hellbilly Deluxe. Yeah, from the get-go, from his first album, this is what he was creating. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, now the date is October 30th, 1977, best year ever. And now they call it Halloween Eve. Yeah. In this movie, the Firefly family. It's not Halloween, it's Halloween Eve at this stage. The local sheriff is filling up his car while feeding his pet dog some fried chicken wings. Inside, Captain Spaulding is having a conversation with an old decrepit local man named Stucky, played by Michael J. Pollard, over a topless autographed photo of June Wilkinson, some pen up from way back in the day, about the local simpleton who works down the road. It's important to note there, Dorian, Captain Spaulding is in full clown gear.
Yes, he is. He's got his face painted and everything.
The shoes, the tiny little hat. Yeah.
It's great. He's
Um,
essentially the mascot of his own place.
yeah, he is, and he's filthy
It's great.
as well. Yeah, the guy's filthy.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
his teeth are
Yeah, no one
Mm,
owns a toothbrush. In
no.
the director's commentary, Rob Zombie referred to Captain Spaulding as the intention being that they wanted him to be a lovable asshole. So like he's a piece of shit, genuinely a piece of shit, but you can't help it be like, oh, this guy's
Yeah.
great. I love him. So
Yeah.
I mean, Rob, you
Yeah.
succeeded. He
Yeah.
is
No,
indeed
no,
a
no.
lovable asshole.
Yeah. No, he's absolutely funny. Um, Now, Stucky and Zombie are talking about the simpleton who works down the road. They use language of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Um,
mean,
mm,
Rob Zombie put out a new Hellbilly type movie now. They would still be throwing around arsler, like, they would still be doing that. Let's be real.
yeah, 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 yeah. Because
Like,
the characters in this movie are not woke and will never have any
no,
intention
no,
about being
no.
woke. Yeah. Yeah. So know that before going in. Yeah. Because they are together talking about Dr. Zaius up the retard's
Yeah,
butt. That's the language of the
yeah,
film. Yeah. And that did make me laugh, to be absolutely
yeah,
honest.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
quite hilarious. Yeah.
Apparently, those lines that actor was there saying and all that, like he was just improving and just off the cuff, just saying all
Okay.
that kind of stuff. And so yeah, a lot of those, they have multiple different takes of different things that he was saying, but that was improv.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. And that little guy, let me just look at the cast just to make sure I have the right person. Because Michael G. Pollard, Sheriff, no, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, he was in Bonnie,
Yeah.
yeah, Bonnie and Clyde back in the day. He was in the Bonnie and
Oh,
Clyde movie back in the day. So again, another legend from back in the day.
yeah.
Zombies brought in. Okay, when Stucky goes to the nearby restroom, which is the okay, so it's like a desiccated zombie hand, yeah, giving a middle finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
That's the key to the bathroom.
that's the key to
And
the
that
bathroom, yeah.
room, yeah. Yeah, peek behind the curtain for filmmaking. That room for the bathroom, there wasn't anything behind that. There wasn't actually
Okay.
anything in there. It was just like,
Okay.
oh yeah,
Okay.
that's where the toilet is. Just go in there. But yeah, there wasn't actually a toilet in that
No, of course
space.
not. Of course not. So yeah, Spaulding's got a cool keychain
No.
and he also has a cool chattering skull tie. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no, I thought that was very cool. Yeah, so this place is also full of oddities and curiosities as well of a gruesome,
Yes.
macabre nature. It's fucking awesome. I would, I love places like
Yeah,
that, of
it's so
course.
cool.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. Um, Now, two masked thugs break into the gas station slash museum, who for some reason thought it was a good idea to rob a store, obviously run by a psychopath. Yeah.
Yes.
Now, this scene is definitely shot like his music videos. Yeah.
Oh
You're
yeah.
straight away introduced to the style of the whole film.
Yeah.
As
The
the two
same
men,
shot. Yeah, the same
yeah,
shot of them bursting in, just repeated like 3 times
yeah,
over and
yeah,
over.
totally, totally. As the two men hold Stucky and Spaulding at gunpoint, the tough-talking lead thug named Killer Carl demands that Spaulding hands over the cash register, while the other thug, who is clearly mentally, yes, not all there, holds Stucky back. Now, I believe it's Killer Carl says, "I hate chicken and I fucking hate clowns." Yeah,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
gets Spaulding out of his joking
Yeah. He
routine.
doesn't like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and then it gets his angry eyes on, and Spaulding
Yeah.
said, "Hey, can
Oh God.
turn." God, it's frightening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. His angry look is
Mm.
phenomenal. Spaulding refuses to open the cash register, and with a gun pointed at his face, defiantly say things like "fuck your mama,"
Fuck your mama.
"fuck
Yeah,
your
because
mama,"
the guy.
"fuck
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
sister."
Yeah, the guy's counting down, like, I'm gonna
Yeah,
count
yeah, yeah,
to,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
three,
right.
and at every count, he's like, fuck your mama, fuck your, yeah, it's like, fuck your sister, and then
Yeah.
like, and then as it's continuing, he's like, fuck your grandma, and then most of all, fuck you.
Yeah, yeah. Spaulding
It's
does
great.
not give a
It's
fuck.
great.
This is not the first time
Yeah.
he has been shot or shot
Oh no.
people. Guns
He
are
is
not a
not
worry.
it. Yeah, it does
Yeah,
not phase him at all having a
no.
gun pointed in his face and threatened. He doesn't give a shit.
He doesn't give a shit. No, pain is a part of this movie's
Mm,
world, and every character feels it every day, or
yeah.
or inflicts it every day. Yeah,
Mm,
in this universe.
yeah.
Um, Now, Stuckey seems to recognize the second robber as Richard Wick, because this guy's monkey mask basically is sticking off one eyeball,
Yeah, yeah.
barely covering the goddamn face. Yeah. So yeah, Richard Wick, local simpleton again, who works down at the local hardware store. Now, suddenly a third man comes crashing through the front door, and here we get real MTV
Mm,
style. It's all Dutch
yeah.
tilt, left and right, and he's got a giant clown helmet. It's
Yeah.
described here. Yeah, just this big, grotesque, grinning face, 3 times bigger than his head, 5 times bigger than his body. Mallet that he's clutching, rushes in, puts it to good use by literally beating Killer Carl down, while Richard Wick panics and shoots off his gun, hitting Stuckey but missing Spaulding, who pulls out a gun of his own and shoots Richard in the head, killing him. And that's where he does the final line, but most of all,
Oh,
fuck
oh,
you.
fuck you.
And then he
Yes.
kills Killer Carl. Now
Oh,
that's the cold open basically, because and then
it's
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 black.
so good.
Yeah,
I
it's dope.
love,
Yeah,
oh, it's so
yeah,
good.
absolutely. And then there's black, and then voiceover by Spaulding. Goddamn motherfucker got blood all over my best damn clown suit. House of a Thousand Corpses, the song
Yeah.
and the title credit. Yeah, it's great
Yes.
opening. Great
Yes.
opening.
Yeah. The opening credits very much it's just straight up a Rob Zombie music video. Like
Yeah,
that's what
yeah,
it looks like.
yeah. It's grindhouse,
It's
it's
grainy,
sleazy,
yeah.
it's grainy,
Yeah.
it's gritty, all done in his basement
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets the 70s grindhouse style,
Mm,
definitely.
yeah.
Now we see a group of 4 kids. These are our players. These are our victims, basically. You have Denise, played by Erin Daniels. You have Mary, played by Jennifer Jostin. You have Now we have a couple of soon-to-be celebrities. Yeah. You have Bill,
Yeah, because
played by.
this
Hmm?
was before they became known.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
this was filmed before either one of them became known. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
in the same way that Cabin in the Woods, Chris Hemsworth is one of the main characters in that.
Mhm,
That
mhm,
film was filmed well before Thor came out.
mhm,
So he was a
mhm,
nobody. And
mhm.
then, but because of some issues with distribution and all that kind of stuff for that movie ended up coming out after Thor happened. But yeah, when they filmed Cabin in the
Really?
Woods, Chris Hemsworth was a nobody. Unless,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, unless you're like Australian and recognize him from like Australian stuff.
Yeah, yeah, sure,
But
sure, sure.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Interesting, interesting. Yes, horror does launch careers. I believe it was his first feature
yes,
film, was certainly one of the first ones of Bill, played by, is
I
it
don't know.
Rain? Is it Rain Wilson? Is that how you say his name? It's got
Rainn
2
Wilson,
N's.
yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
Dwight
Rainn
from the
Wilson, yeah,
fucking Office.
yeah,
It's
Dwight from The
fucking
Office.
Dwight. Yeah, yeah, he is in this. And Jerry Chris Hardwick, yeah, Mr. Podcaster, fucking billionaire guy, yeah, Mr. What does he run? Is it? It's not nerdism. Fucking yeah, he's a big
I don't know.
online culture person, basically.
Mm,
Yeah, he's huge. And he played Jerry, yeah, who was our stoner, yeah, who was our
yes,
character trope stoner
yeah.
dude. Yeah.
When at in this opening sequence, he's wearing a beanie. And
Mm,
then later on in the movie, he's no longer wearing a beanie. It's
mm.
because he was wearing a wig for it,
Yeah,
and
that's right.
the good wig hadn't come in yet, hadn't arrived yet. So they just put a beanie on him, so then they could hide like how terrible the wig actually looked. And then later on, when he's not wearing a beanie
Uh,
anymore, it's because they got like a decent looking wig to put on him. So he didn't need the beanie anymore. So like, okay, we don't need to hide this shitty wig because we've got a good wig now.
uh, if children, if you
Insights from Rob Zombie,
if
director
you are looking
commentary.
for continuity in this movie, children, don't. Just don't. Chris Hardwick, he's the nerdist and he's the Talking Dead guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, just let me get back to where I was. Thank you for that for the wig. Okay. Cast. Yes, Jerry, Chris Hardwick. They are driving down the backwards, rainy night Texas roads while the radio reports that a group of cheerleaders have gone missing in the area. They go to the gas and fried chicken shop where Spaulding still resides. They arrive just as Spaulding is mopping up a huge blood stain on the floor. How did that appear? Despite being a twisted murderer, he happily takes the four on a tour through a serial killer themed ride in his museum. Yeah, please.
They do the ride.
Yeah, please go.
So initially it's just Bill and Jerry who go in there. Denise and Mary are asleep in the car.
Yep.
Bill and Jerry are in there. They're expecting, because they've just stopped by to get gas. But then they come in, they're like, Jerry is just like, oh my god, this place is amazing.
Yeah, straight out.
Bill is
this
there.
Is the tits.
Bill is there. Bill is there having a chat with Captain Spaulding and saying like, oh, me and my buddy here, we're writing a book about like all these like strange and like cool like roadside attractions, so then people can, when they're going on road trips, go through. So he's asking Captain Spaulding a bunch of questions about it and all that kind of thing, and he's there, talking with him and everything. But then eventually Captain Spaulding kind of is like, okay, like, why are you asking all these stupid questions kind of thing? And it just starts sort of interrogating Bill, like, and getting quite like antagonistic and implying that, Bill thinks that they're uneducated and that he's stupid and this, that, and the other, and getting really quite offended about it and looking very menacing. And Bill's like, oh, no, I swear, like, this is all genuine. I don't think that about you at all. And then Captain Spaulding's like, gotcha. Just joking.
Yeah.
But so from all that, they end up talking some more, and that's when they find out about this murder ride. It's like, oh shit, we got to do this murder ride. Come on, get the girls, and we'll all come in.
Yes.
They want the girls want absolutely nothing to do with it.
Nothing, especially
Zombie
Mary. Mary is really pissed at the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. She's the entire movie. Oh my god.
Entire movie.
But like in the director's commentary, Rob Zombie said that they weren't intending on making Mary and Denise to be such whiny bitches. But that's just how they turned out, and he does kind of have a tiny shred of regret about that. The fact that those characters were nothing more than that.
I get it.
But like he recognizes that that's what these characters are, especially Mary. Mary is just terrible. I fucking hate her.
Yeah, cool, because I wasn't much of a fan. I get what you're saying, though, that's the way they turned out, because that's the way every character turned out in this movie, because there's a fair bit of improv, and also with the Firefly family, he didn't want them as campy as they turned out to be, but that's just the tone and how it rode out, so he just let them ride. Yeah, and when you've got people like fucking Bill Moseley, what can you do? Just let him go, especially with Otis. He was channeling some shit with Otis. Yeah.
Like I think that Bill Moseley was like perfect as Otis.
So much.
Rob Zombie's really heavily inspired by like the Manson family stuff and Charles Manson.
Yeah, I was going to get into that with this film. Yeah,
and those little snippets that grainy little things of them talking and that's shot in his basement, like that was intentionally inspired by like Manson family stuff. And Otis just going on these tangents and these rants, talking about his like personal ideology and all that kind of stuff, doesn't make any sense to anyone but himself. And like Bill Moseley's just absolutely fantastic at delivering that kind of stuff, those kinds of lines, and he's incredible. He has three roles in this movie. Not just Otis. He isn't just Otis in this movie.
Yeah, what were the other two?
Yeah. So there's the news report on the TV. He's the newsreader.
Okay.
And then also on the murder ride, they're going through and some stuff from various different serial killers. And they're talking about Ed Gein. Video footage of that. Basically it was like, oh, we could get some actual footage of Ed Gein, but it would be cheaper to just dress Bill Moseley, dress him up as Ed Gein and have him do it. So
no shit, really.
So Bill Moseley is Ed Gein.
Okay. Hilarious. Why not? Yeah. Yeah, and I wanted to touch on the Manson thing because this
Mm.
is real dark 70s culture that this is touching on,
Yes.
which
Mm.
Rob Zombie does love. And the ride does feature Albert Fish, Ed
Mm.
Gein, and Dr. Satan himself.
Yep. There's Lizzie
Um,
Borden.
yeah, absolutely. Otis is very much channeling Rob Zombie's and Mosley's view of Manson, their perception of
Yeah.
Manson. Those rants are pure Manson,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, the Firefly family. You could look at Otis and the
Yeah.
Manson girls as well. Baby,
Yeah.
what was Susan's nickname? It's not Sookie. That's fucking
I don't
Jersey
know.
Shore. It was something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
So there's
Yeah.
very strong
Mm.
influence
And then
towards all that. Yeah,
in the Devil's Rejects, Otis says, "I'm the devil and I'm here to do the devil's work."
yeah, which is yeah. It's straight
Yeah,
from
he
Charles.
says that.
It's
Yeah,
straight from Charlie.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A beautiful delivery of that line because that line's been
Mm.
said a bit
Yes.
throughout movies, and he's the
Mm.
best one to say it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which is one of the reasons why I like this movie because the cast is so damn cool and they're
Yeah.
having such a fucking fun time with
Yes.
this film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then they do the ride. The man with the mallet from the opening massacre is operating the cart on the ride. Yes, he's still wearing the helmet.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah. It
Spaulding's
isn't.
assistant.
Yeah.
Hmm?
It isn't like an actual like ride that can be, through like mechanical or electronic means or anything. No, you just got a guy pushing the cart through
Yeah,
it all.
yeah, it
Like
was Spaulding
that's
at
how
the
it
front,
operates.
standing up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, being like a
Yeah. It's
ringleader,
just a guy in the
definitely.
back just pushing you along.
Did you check out the Hellbilly theme park, Hellbilly Deluxe theme park, or the House of a Thousand Corpses theme?
That's another fun thing about how Universal was like, no, we want nothing to do with
Universal show
this thing
with
that
the
you're
park show.
creating.
Mm.
And then like however many years later, Universal Horror Nights, they've got a
that's
House of Thousand Corpses, mate.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So they're like,
And
oh, actually, we think it's
yeah,
cool now.
yeah.
And yeah, and like Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon, like they went through it.
Okay.
And like there's some footage of them going through it and they had a blast. They thought
Oh,
it was
that's
so
good.
much fun. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Come to Brisbane. Come through Evil Corp.
Yes.
Because no offense, no shade to whoever created the Hellbilly Deluxe and house walkthroughs. Evil Corp's better. Yeah. Yeah. It really is. Check them out there, Children on the Popcorn. They're on YouTube. Yeah, it's all a bit too safe and it's all a bit too sexy as well, especially with Hellbilly Deluxe. Yeah, it's all a little bit too sexy. Anyway, check them out. Now this assistant's name is Ravellini, played by Erwin Keyes. Deformed, very freaky. After the ride, Jerry inquires about the local serial killer named Dr. Satan, who was hanged and vanished, never to be seen again. Spaulding clearly becomes uncomfortable, annoyed, talking about Dr. Satan, but after being pestered, decides to give them the address of the tree, which is just close near here, where Satan was hung. Yes, which is nearby.
Yes. He's very reluctant to give them a map. It's a very like hastily drawn map. And when he gives it to him, he's like, that's what it is. That's your map. If you can't find it, tough. Like,
pretty much.
There isn't any like him actually like trying to like guide him along. It's like, look, you just do this, and this. There you go. You can't find it, tough. I don't give a shit. Fuck off.
Yeah. They are going to
Here's your complimentary fried chicken.
Yeah. They are going to find it though, definitely, because this is all a setup, but we'll get to that. Now Zombie loves Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there are many blatant references to TCM in this movie. And in my opinion, here's the first big one. They pick up The Hitchhiker. Yeah? Yes, coming from the gas station. Yep. And it's Sherry Moon. Yes, this is the first time we meet Baby. Has to be asked because this is our first time touching on Zombie, and a big part of horror discourse is why is Sherry Moon Zombie allowed to act?
Yeah.
What do you think about those thoughts, Dorian?
Yeah, I feel that if the character is written for her, then it's a lot different to, for instance, her as Lily Munster, where, that character's not written for her kind of thing.
I
And I
couldn't
think
see
that's
it, no.
I think that's part of the reason why it just didn't work. But if you
Mhm.
have like, if you know what it is that, what, you know, what works for her and how she is as an actress and all that kind of stuff, and you can create that character around that, then it has the potential to actually work. I like her as Baby, and I
Yeah,
like her
so
as
do I.
Heidi in Lords of Salem. I thought she was
Oh,
fantastic in Lords of
yes,
Salem.
absolutely.
Her as Charlie in 31, like, again, like everything about that is just so, I barely remember so much stuff from that movie, so I can't even
Same.
remember
Yeah,
anything about her character, honestly.
yeah, yeah.
And then she's Michael Myers' mother in Halloween. Um,
I thought she
I
was all
think
right
she
with
did.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I thought she
yeah.
was. Yeah, I think she did all right. Yeah, I think the problem is that if, yeah, if you're not writing the right, if it isn't the right kind of character, then she probably isn't really going to be able to do too well with it.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
yeah, like for me, she's always going to be Baby Firefly.
Yes, 1,000%. That's the
So
role that she
yeah,
was born to play. And yeah,
yes,
she's gotten better and better at it as well. I think she
yeah,
nailed Lords of Salem as well.
yeah,
Yes, children,
yeah,
we are going to cover that movie. Absolutely.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because I
Oh, that
really like
movie's
that one.
really good. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I've got no problems with Sherry Moon being in the movies, certainly as Baby and having his wife in the movies. You know, he has
yeah,
all of his friends in the movies. They
yeah,
are obviously deeply in love and have been for decades.
yeah,
So yeah, he makes movies because he wants to and makes them the way
yeah,
he wants to. So leave them
yeah,
alone.
exactly.
Leave them
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah,
But
like that's one of the reasons why even though I mightn't be always on board with his style, the fact is he makes what it is that he wants to make,
mhm,
and in
yeah,
the style that he wants to make this thing, and that is something that is so rare.
yeah, it
And
is.
like
It
he
is.
knows what it is that he wants to create, and he
Yeah,
goes out and does it.
yeah.
And and I think that's, worth, appreciate, that's something worth
Yeah,
appreciating.
as celebrating, absolutely, because that's
Yeah.
all what we want to do, and he fights for
Yeah.
the right to do it as well.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
absolutely fantastic live.
Yeah, okay, I've
A
never
number
seen
of
him. No, never saw him.
so this was, what year would have been? Late 2010s. I'm not entirely sure for the actual year. Was it late 2010s or early 2010s? Early 2010s. When Soundwave was still a thing.
Sure, sure.
Rob Zombie was playing. And it was an afternoon, it was in the afternoon on one of the smaller stages. So it wasn't one of the main stages, one of the smaller ones in the mid-afternoon. So it was only like an hour set on a small stage. So obviously has to be put up, all the stuff for it put up and then perform and then taken down so then in time for the next one to come on. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, it's mid-afternoon. So like
Okay.
in terms of anything visuals and all that, you've got the afternoon sun and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
holy shit, it was
Really?
so good.
Oh,
Just in
okay.
terms of his energy and then the visuals that were happening and all that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I'm like, if this is what it is at this tiny
Yeah.
little stage that's an hour long
I'm sorry.
performance in
Yeah.
the middle of the afternoon outside, and
Mm.
this is what it looks like, I need to see him do it like a proper Rob Zombie concert, because
Yeah,
holy shit, this is amazing.
wow, okay. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't know if we'll ever see that again either. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
so. No.
jealous. Yeah, yeah, cool,
Mm,
cool. Yeah, no, I always heard he put on a damn good show,
yeah.
definitely. Now it has to be asked as well because first time zombie, and it's a big question, a big complaint. Sherry Moon's butt.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's every single time. In the director's commentary, he acknowledges it. Because when at one
What does
point
he
he's
say?
there, like
What does he say?
he's like, and there's your obligatory butt shot. Like
Okay.
he says it.
So he's aware of it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Because he's like, hey, my wife is hot and she's
yeah.
totally fine with showing her ass
Yeah.
off on camera, so like, why not?
We're making gritty, greasy, slimy,
Yeah,
sleazy films. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, I've never had a problem. It's just
yeah.
something that's always come up.
You can make a fun drinking game out of it.
Yeah, you could.
Good thing to do at parties. Hey, there you go. Rob
Yeah,
Zombie being like predictable and so consistent with all this kind of stuff throughout the course of all of his movies.
Oh,
That makes for really fun drinking games. You put that on at a party. Really, really easy to make a drinking game from that.
yeah, no, fuck all that. Let's create a evil popcorn Rob Zombie drinking game. Copyright.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very cool idea. Yeah, you have to do a whole glass for each butt shot. Okay. All right. Okay, that's covered. We got that out the way. Yes, but Sherry Moon Zombie is
Yeah,
baby
her
in
ass
this
is
film.
not covered.
No, not yet, but it's coming. Trust me.
Yeah.
All right. Now, despite her beauty, baby acts strangely. Yes, it's Franklin. No, it's not Franklin. Did the hitchhiker have a name in TCM? He didn't, did he?
No,
No,
no.
he was just, and he was even credited as the hitchhiker.
He's just credited as
Yeah.
a hitchhiker, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. She acts strange and things get stranger. Certainly not as strange as the hitchhiker from TCM. That's hard
No.
to beat. Wherever they
No.
found that freak on the side of the road,
No.
literally. Yeah. And suddenly gets a flat tire. The tire was pierced by a shotgun blast by a mysterious man crouched by the side of the road. Now, that man, who happens to have a tow truck, is Rufus, brother Rufus. Yes, never wear a shirt, Rufus. He is baby's older brother. If you imagine Daniel Boone, yeah, with the raccoon hat, just a real scary, monstrous version of that.
Yeah.
That's Rufus. He throws the truck to the house, a large, creepy home.
So it's raining pretty heavily, and they're all like,
Yes,
oh,
of course. Yes,
blown a
classic.
tire, what are we gonna do, kind of thing. And then baby's like, oh well, my house is just walking distance from here, we can, and my brother's got a tow truck, no worries. So Bill and baby end up getting out of the car and head to their house. And that's where, she's going to, there, call up Rufus and get Rufus to come back and get the car. So baby's there just being strange. There's a bunch of dolls hanging up on the wall. She's like, oh, this is my doll
the dolls.
collection.
Now, Dorian. That's when I first saw this film. I fell in love with this film and Sherry Moon as baby and that sort of thing. The dolls, tearing off the limbs and the heads and nailing them to the wall. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. And then just, so she goes inside and she's like, oh yeah, I'll just go in and, get, tell my brother and all that. And then so Bill is just standing around outside being like, okay, what's going on? It's dark. I don't know where I am. And this is looking real creepy, but okay. And then suddenly baby comes out of nowhere, jump scare.
Yeah. After
then,
the close up on the dolls, creepy doll montage just before that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, well, where's, you gonna call your brother? Like, what's going on? She's like, oh no, he already left. And so the thing is that because he was never at the house to begin with.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why it's like, what? We didn't hear him leave. Yeah, because he was never there.
Yeah, precisely. I did appreciate the moment where Bill is freaking out over the creepy dolls, and then baby gives him a jump scare, then he's seriously freaked out, and she's like, you ain't seen nothing yet. Blatant foreshadowing, but it's a definite cool character moment for baby. What did you think of the production design of the titular house itself, Dorian, just in general? Because I fucking love it.
Yeah, it's exactly what you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
Like, given everything, like, you know, in terms of the types of people, you know, type of people that live in there, and then also the fact that like this is a fucked up like grindhouse movie heavily inspired by Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like, yeah, it's exactly what you expect it to look like.
Absolutely. And Zombie's house, I mean, I'm sure it's cleaner than this house,
Oh
but
yeah,
it's filled with horror stuff, just like Del
yeah,
Toro's, that sort of thing.
yeah,
And yeah, in a first film, you want to show off what you're into. Yeah.
yeah,
Which he
yeah,
certainly does with
definitely.
this house. I think it's absolutely, yeah, fantastic. Want to live there. While Rufus works on the car, the four teens are introduced to another member of the clan, Mother Firefly, Karen Black.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's
yes,
amazing. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
yeah, Bill was inside with baby. She fixed them some hot chocolate, and that's when you see
Yes.
her ass. And she's like,
Seduces him with
yeah,
hot
yeah,
chocolates in
yeah. And then,
marshmallows in pajamas. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, she tries on his glasses and,
Hmm.
you know, and she's just being all really flirty with him. And he's kind of like not sure how to respond because, like, here's this hot girl who's like hitting on me, but also like,
Blatantly.
what the fuck? She's also clearly insane.
Yeah.
So then
Yeah.
you've also got Jerry and the two girls there waiting in the car, and then out of nowhere, Rufus shows up and scares the shit out of them. And then he comes along and tows the car
Yeah.
back to the
Thank you.
house.
Thank
And
you.
they're
Thank
all
you.
in the house hanging out, and yeah, Karen Black comes in. She's dressed to look like the madam of a brothel. Like that's the intention for like
Absolutely.
her whole look.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah.
it absolutely, and the way that she's behaving as well, it's like, yep, that's absolutely her vibe.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
American Pie was before this movie, yeah?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's like it's a
So
hellbilly.
I've never seen American Pie. I know Karen Black from horror movies.
Okay. Okay.
I know her from this movie and then Trilogy of Terror.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool, cool.
And then also I think she was the mother in Mirror Mirror. I think.
Oh, was
Yeah.
she? Okay.
I think.
She's kind of like a hellbilly version of Stifler's mum. Yeah, is another way to put it.
Yeah.
She's very cool. Unfortunately, didn't make it to The Devil's Rejects. Yeah,
No.
this trilogy has lost some people along its way. Rest in peace,
Yeah.
Karen Black. Okay, now the four are coerced into having dinner with the family and are introduced to the hideously deformed, 7 foot tall, tiny Matthew McGrory.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually they struggled when filming him in that because if unless you had another person in like standing next to him in frame, you couldn't really get a proper gauge of just how massive he was.
Okay,
like that was an issue that they were having.
Okay.
And so it isn't until like Mama Firefly gives him a little note saying go get grandpa.
Yeah, very TCM again.
Yeah. And that is like the first time you actually see him standing next to another person.
Yeah,
and that's when it's like, holy shit, this guy is massive.
That was a cool shot. That was a good shot. To establish that. Yeah. And have you seen him in other films before this, after this? No. He's been in some other stuff. I have looked. Nothing big, of course. But again, thank you, Zombie, for bringing this guy into this film. Yeah. He's fantastic. Because he's a sweetheart. He turns out to be the sweetheart of the family as well. Yeah.
I love when before they're all before you get introduced to Tiny, they're all there talking and like, oh, you know, trying to get another car or something like that. And I just love the line delivery when it's like, oh, you know, because I think it's Mary, like she hears about their brother Tiny. And then she's like, oh, well, maybe Tiny could like, you know, drive us to, you know, somewhere. And then they just laugh. And then Mama Firefly is like, oh, Tony ain't got no car. He ain't even got a damn bicycle. Just a line delivery on that just always cracks me up. Yeah,
and Mama Firefly and Baby laughing together. That's a psychotic display there. Absolutely. Because Baby's laugh will drill into your head
by
the end of this movie. Absolutely.
But yeah, and so
mhm.
Mama Firefly gives the note to Tiny to tell
Yeah.
him to go and get Grandpa. And as he's leaving, she's there saying to the
Yeah. Okay.
guests,
Thank you. Yeah.
explaining the backstory about Tiny, because Tiny's wearing this like leather mask on his face.
Hmm.
And then she's like, oh, like, don't mind him. He can't hear very well. Like, oh, it's his daddy's fault. Like, oh, don't get me wrong. He was a good man. He never hit me or anything. But one day he just like got like, just he got the devil in him, and basically he tried to burn down the house
Hmm.
along with Tiny. And
Hmm.
Tiny suffered severe burns, and I assume his hearing was damaged as a result of that.
Hmm.
Poor
Hmm.
Tiny,
Yeah.
he's such a sweetheart.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, yeah. Okay. So Grandpa,
Mm,
yes, is Grandpa Hugo, played by
mm,
Dennis Fimple. Yeah.
yeah,
This guy is, yeah, you're like, he was seriously old in this movie.
mm,
Like, this guy
yeah,
has been doing movies since the 20s and 30s, this guy, yeah. So talking
yeah.
about bringing back old school people. Now, while the uncomfortable dinner takes place in an upstairs bedroom, family member, this is Otis,
Mm,
is ranting and
Otis.
torturing the five missing cheerleaders from the radio transmission. And this is where you get the
Mm,
first, Manson rants. Yeah.
yeah,
Beautifully delivered what he's talking about.
mm, yeah.
Yeah. He then goes downstairs and joins the family dinner.
Mm.
I neglected to write down the name of the baby in the jar. Did you spot
Little
that?
Wolf.
Little Wolf,
Wolf.
thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. It's that
Is
and another one you see on the shelf in Tiny's room. In Tiny's room later on.
Mhm.
Little Wolf is back on the shelf along with it, but it's that one and another one.
Mhm.
Um, uh, yeah.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
isn't just the one. There's more than one of them.
Okie dokie.
Mm,
Yeah, he's carrying it down, and Mama Firefly's glad to see Little Wolf, gives the
yeah.
jar a
Mm,
kiss and all this.
yeah.
Sure. Otis is the patriarch. This is established pretty
Yeah.
well as soon as he enters
Mm,
the room. Yeah, Bill Moseley
yeah.
pulls that off, and
He's
as
the
do
man
the
of the
others' reaction.
house. Yeah. Because
Yes.
grandpa's a bit useless.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do anything. So it's once again,
Yeah.
it's up to Otis to sort shit out.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you've got Dad from TCM, that's very Otis,
Mm,
and you've got Grandpa Munster. That's very Hugo,
yeah.
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 Pulling from everywhere.
Yeah.
Ran to, yeah, ready transmission. He then goes
Mm,
downstairs, joins the family, where he talks with the four creeped out teens about the legend of Dr. Satan.
yeah.
Because he can see that they're very curious about the case. All
Mm.
right. But
Also,
before, yeah,
a fun fact,
please.
what it is that they're eating there, that Grandpa Hugo is looking absolutely disgusting with what it is that he's eating that food. It's just smeared all
Mm,
over his face.
mm,
That it was Matthew McGrory, Tiny, that
mm.
actor's birthday while they were filming that. So
Okay.
that was birthday cake.
Wow. Okay, that's
That was
awesome.
birthday cake they were eating there.
That's fantastic. I didn't know that. That's absolutely
Yep.
fantastic. Thank you. Okay. Now, I'm not sure if he interrupts the story of Dr. Satan, but it does come out of nowhere. Grandpa announces that it's showtime.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I found out that this is the first time that they've ever put this on.
Oh,
Was it for the kids? Were the kids just lucky showing up for that? This is the night of the
who
inaugural
knows?
performance. Who knows? But regardless, it's fucking showtime. And the
Yes.
family puts on a very strange Halloween show for the
Mm.
group,
It's
starting
a
with
variety
Grandpa.
show.
A variety show starts with
Yes.
Grandpa Hugo giving his type 5.
Yeah. He's literally screaming into the microphone and talking
Just
about pussy.
obscenities, just
Yeah.
obscenities, basically. And Jerry's just standing up,
Yeah,
standing
Jerry's
up.
loving it.
Fucking Dave Chappelle, amazing. Um, yeah, the girls aren't liking it. Let's just say that again. Once
Yeah.
again, the females are not happy. Baby comes out onto the stage, lip syncing the 1940s pop song "I Want to Be Loved by You."
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, which Jerry absolutely loves. He
Yeah.
audibly lets out a wow. His girlfriend, what's his girlfriend's name again? Is it Mary?
I can't remember who's who.
Yeah, don't matter. Yeah.
Because Baby ends up sitting on Bill's lap and
Bill's
flirting
lap,
with him once
yes.
again, and then Mary
Yes.
just
Mary, that's Mary
flips her
is
lid.
with Bill. Yeah, yeah,
Mary
yeah.
just absolutely loses her shit.
Yes, yes.
And then when Baby
Denise.
responds, in a way that is, admittedly, yeah, pretty fucking unhinged, but also like you provoked her, and now Mary's then going on like, oh my god, she's fucking insane. It's like, just out of nowhere, you suddenly stood up and just started screaming at her. Like, what did you think was gonna happen?
Yeah, it was a little kind of like I don't know if you've been to a burlesque show or stuff like that. It happens,
No, but
people's
yeah.
laps get sat on, hair gets
Exactly.
tousled, you know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, she's married. But it's Denise is the other girlfriend, yes. Jerry's girl, Denise, and yeah, she's not happy about how much Jerry appreciates Baby's show. The show ends badly, as you said. Mary starts a fight but with Baby when she starts flirting with Bill, sits on the lap. Baby pulls out a pocket knife. Says that she's going to.
Mary's like, oh yeah, what are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? Pulls out the knife and goes, yeah, I'll fucking cut your tits off and shove them down your throat.
yeah. I mean, Mary a little bit, unhinged with the reaction, but Baby's still you don't have to do that. But anyway. Fortunately, Rufus arrives. Mother Firefly holds her back. Now, boom, Rufus bursts in, says that the car's fixed.
Car's ready.
4 teenagers bolt. Yeah. While Bill drives, if anything's missing, let me know. While Bill drives the car away, 2 of the scarecrows surrounding the driveway come alive. Yeah. It's Otis and Timmy, certainly with Tiny. Sorry, you can notice the size of the scarecrow. This bit's really cool, because there's good sinister bass music going on and during this and whatnot. Yeah, it's very cool. Otis stands up on the boot of the car, howling at the night. Yeah, it's great. But all 4 are taken hostage again, and it is now Halloween.
Yes.
The 4 teens are held captive at various rooms in the house, and the family subjects them to unspeakable acts of mental and physical torture. The dunce cap was probably my favorite moment of production design. That image was fantastic when she's sitting from behind. Really cool. Dunce cap, if you don't know, children, once upon a time, back in boomer time, children who were naughty or seemed to be stupid in class made to sit in the corner of the room facing the wall with a triangle Noddy and Toyland style hat on their head.
Dunce written on it.
With dunce written on it, which if you don't know, it means fucking dumb.
You're stupid. Means you're stupid. You don't know anything.
Yeah. God, that's fucked. Now that actually say that out loud, isn't it? It's really fucked.
It's public humiliation.
Hey, for a kid like 6 years old, Jesus Christ.
No wonder the boomers are all fucked in the head.
Fuck yeah. This family, the older ones are boomers. Anyway, Bill is the first to die. Okay. Yes. Now, Mary wants to know where Bill is. Yes. And Otis saying that I've been working. Do you know what work is? No, you don't know what fucking work is. And then he says that Bill has
going on this rant. Yeah,
Bill, what a specimen. Okay, as soon as you heard the word specimen, get out. Things are bad. But yes, I had a block. I've had a block for so long, but I feel revitalized through Bill. Such a great specimen, and he reveals Fish Boy. Yeah.
Yes. And you have some of that gritty, grainy footage of him and Baby. They've put on a song, grooving along to that. Please, torturing Bill.
Brick House by the Commodores.
Cut his hand off and is there like waving it in his face, hitting him with it and all that. And so basically and there was more footage of the creation of Fish Boy that unfortunately has been lost. But
that was done in the basement.
Yes. So essentially Bill has been turned into a Fiji mermaid. So there you go. So for people who don't know what a Fiji mermaid is, it was a fake bit of taxidermy oddity type thing back in the day. There was literally the top half of a monkey sewn onto the bottom half of a fish, essentially, and presented as being a mermaid. And that is, I assume it's got something to do with Fiji. Maybe it's claimed to originated from the waters of Fiji. There's a specimen that we have or something, but it's what's known as a Fiji mermaid, that particular
Fiji
item.
I didn't know that. I'm going to post up an image of that there, children. That's fantastic, Dorian. Thank you.
Yes, so
it's like
that's what Bill has been turned into.
Like a human to duckin, is that the word? Yeah. Yeah, check it out. Check it out. It looks great. Fish Boy does look great. All the effects are practical in this movie. No CGI, which is to its benefit. Absolutely. Yeah, as you were saying, Baby is dancing to Brick House before this. Yeah, during the making of Fish Boy, which was hilarious. Definitely.
Yes.
Now Jerry has the skin on his head peeled open by Baby.
Yeah, because she's there doing a bit of a cheerleader routine. She's dressed up in the outfits for the cheerleaders, because earlier she had been tormenting some of the cheerleaders, and she's like, oh, like, you're a bunch of cheerleaders and you haven't done anything to raise my spirits. Come on. And then, she's getting him to, she's spelling out, give me a B, give me an A, give me a B, give me a Y. What's that spell? To the cheerleader.
Yeah, to the cheerleader who is alive in the bed.
Yes,
she's top and tailing with her dead friend.
Yes. Yeah. So later on, Baby's there dressed in one of the outfits from the cheerleaders, and so she's come in. She's now harassing Jerry, and she's like, "Oh, I'll give you a pop quiz. What's my favorite movie star?" And he's like, "I don't know." And he guesses Marilyn Monroe,
which is a fair guess. Fair guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Was it Betty Davis?
Yeah, it was Betty Davis. Yes.
Yeah, and so she's like, "Oh, wrong, it's Betty Davis," and then she scalps him. She scalps Jerry.
Yeah. yeah. Which was a bit of a goof with the wig and stuff, because he's just bald later on and not it. But anyway, yeah. But a hilarious scene. Great pop quiz, another pop quiz in horror. Yeah, up there with Scream. Jerry has the skin on his head. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Betty Davis in the basement of the house. The captive Denise coerces Tiny into setting her free.
She has a dream before she wakes up. And it's weird.
What was the dream again?
The visuals for it is in an inverted color palette, because when they filmed it, it was early morning out in the middle of nowhere and all that kind of stuff, and the way that it looked from the lighting, Rob Zombie really fucking hated how it looked.
Okay.
He felt that it just, for some reason, things just didn't look real. It just really didn't like the way that it looked, and they weren't able to reshoot it or anything. So he's like, fuck it, I'll just invert the color scheme. It's a dream sequence anyway. Who cares?
Okay.
But that's why that looks like that.
Just quickly on that, thank you for explaining that, because I fucking hate negative film effects. It was tacky in 2003.
Yeah, that's why that looks like that. That's the origin of it. And and there's this whole thing going on about there's this old couple, and this guy's going on about the skunk ape and how it fucked his wife and all that.
Which was going to be in the film. They wanted a skunk ape.
There was going to be a thing in the film about the skunk ape. For people who don't know about skunk ape, I think it's a Florida cryptid. But it's basically a Bigfoot Sasquatch kind of thing.
Really dangerous.
He smells like shit.
Yeah.
That's why it's a skunk ape. It smells like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
To even think of having one in the film. Anyway,
but and then Denise in the dream, she kind of comes up to this like grave, and very Carrie hand comes out from underneath and grabs at her, and then she wakes up and she finds that she's dressed up like a little girl, in a little
very Alice in Wonderland looking.
She's got some makeup on her face like that of like a little doll, and she's kind of in like a basement kind of area of the place, and this is Tiny's room. This is where Tiny is, and Tiny comes down the stairs. They're eating his cereal really sloppily, just
out of a dog bowl. I thought it was dog food
Yeah.
upon the revisit.
Yeah.
I looked
Yeah.
up. No, it's his favorite cereal. Yeah.
Yeah. Cereal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember what the cereal was called.
Fucking yeah, I had it as well.
But yeah, it's like
Fuck.
it was a stupid joke, a stupid pun. And the origin from that was at one point they were just making dumb comments and riffing, and that was just a dumb joke that Sherry had made at one point. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, that's funny. You know what? Actually,
Mm,
I'm gonna
mm.
keep that in mind, file that away. And then when it's
Yeah.
like, huh, what should we name this cereal? Ah, I know.
Yeah. If you know children, message us. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he lets her go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Because she isn't restrained, and she just gets up and really slowly keeping her eye on him the entire time, and just
Mhm.
like, okay, I'm just gonna go now. I'm just
Mm,
gonna go.
mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
bye. I'm going now. And he's just sitting there eating. And she's
Yeah.
making her way up the stairs, and then Otis comes and grabs her.
Yeah, Sodas comes and grabs her, throws her in a cage with
Yeah,
three other females. Did you spot
yeah,
that?
yeah.
Who are they?
I don't know. Like,
Mm.
I'm assuming that it's probably the cheerleaders, but
It
I
was
really don't know.
five, two,
Five
three.
cheerleaders, yeah.
Yeah, I
Because we
guess
don't
we've seen
know,
two.
yeah, yeah. We don't know how
Yeah,
they've been passed around amongst them all.
yeah, there is that. There is that. I don't know if it was that or if he was just
Yeah,
making a quick reference to Dracula.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't
maybe.
know the way the references are thrown around in this
Yeah,
film. It happens. Anyway, let's
yeah,
just say that. Yes,
yeah.
there are three females that, yeah, jump on top of her, like the three in Dracula
Mm,
style. Meanwhile, Denise's father, okay,
mm,
father Don, played by Harrison Young, never heard of him before,
mm.
becomes worried about his daughter when she doesn't phone the next
Yeah,
morning. So he drives out to the small town. And that's where I put never use negative effects. Awful, but I
yeah,
get it now. Yeah.
mm,
Denise phoned from the previous night. Yeah, she phoned from the
yeah,
town the
yeah.
previous night and listened to
When
help.
when they stopped at Spalding's place, she had popped into a phone booth and made a call to her father because they were planning on arriving in town to and come in and see her dad like the next day or whatever. And so she had said, oh, just so you know, we've just stopped for gas at this place called Captain Spaulding's. You know, it's set us behind schedule just a little bit. And then he hasn't heard from her since. So, and I think he's an ex-cop.
Yeah, I think so. I
Because
think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's friends with, so he gets in contact with the guy who's like the sheriff or whatever for the town that he's living in. And he's like,
Mhm,
hey, like, my daughter is missing. This is what's
mhm.
going on with that. I haven't heard from her since. This is what she said. And then so that sheriff was like, oh, okay, I'll put that through to the local police department of that area. So then, they can go and check it out. And so then you have the cops working on it, and you got some of that.
Yes, we have the
And
cops. We have the two local state
yes.
troopers, Weidel and
Mm,
Nash. Weidel was played by
yeah.
Tom Towles. Nash. You have Walton Goggins. Yeah, you seen
Yeah.
him before? Yeah.
I
Okay.
completely
Yeah.
forgot he was in this movie
Hmm.
until I
Hmm.
rewatched it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Because the last time I
Goggins.
watched him, I was in the Fallout show.
Yeah. Hey, there you go, children.
So
Yeah. So if you want to, see people from
mm,
now back in the day, definitely.
yeah.
No, he's great. He's a great character
Mm,
actor, very
yeah.
interesting face. He's good in
Mm,
this. The three of them head to where the kids were last seen. And that,
yeah.
of course, is Spalding's museum. They question him about Denise and her friends. Now, after putting up with Spalding's antics, because,
Yeah.
again, Spalding, Balls of
Mm,
Steel, does not give a
yeah.
fuck. Lots of one-liners. He tells the two policemen where he sent the kids. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now on their way, the three of them, this is Dad and the two cops, find Denise's car with the dead body of one of the murdered cheerleaders in the trunk.
Yeah.
Okay. After having the local sheriff tow away the car to the crime lab, Weidel, Nash, and Don arrive at the Firefly house to question the owners to the whereabouts of the missing kids. Weidel goes inside, goes to the front door and talks to Mother Firefly, about his search for Denise and the friends.
When the cops rock up, Mama Firefly because Hugo, so Grandpa Hugo and Otis are upstairs watching TV. They're watching the monsters.
Yeah, that's right.
And they're just talking shit. And then Mama Firefly comes in. She's like, oh, like there's a cop, lurking around outside, And then Otis is like, oh, okay, like, I gotta go and sort this shit out. It's
As
on
I
me
sort
to
out
deal with
everything.
this. Once again, like looking directly at Grandpa Hugo, who just flips him off.
Yeah.
Eyes continually to just be glued on the TV.
And
He doesn't give a shit. He's eating his TV dinner. So he's given a gun to Mama Firefly and said, okay, like, stay there, just play nice, and he was like, how many of them are there? And she's like, oh, I only saw one. And he's like, oh, well, they always travel in packs. So, so they know that the cops are coming. Mama Firefly has a gun and Otis also has a gun, and they don't know that he's there. He's actively looking for them. So Mama Firefly opens up the door to Wydell, who, she's there just laying on the charm and, lets him in, to have a chat. And meanwhile, Nash and Don, they're walking around outside and exploring. You'd think that after coming across all that massive pile of shoes from all the Firefly family's victims, that would tip them off that something's going on, but no.
It's a
They
bit
get
like
scared
Auschwitz, for
shitless.
sure.
Yeah. They get scared shitless by a dog.
Yeah.
Which like Nash like, no, you don't understand. I got like mauled by this like beagle when I was a child.
Okay. Wait until
So
you see what's coming.
Around outside. And then they open up
the tool
some
shed.
double doors.
Yeah, the tool shed at the back.
And in there is the other cheerleaders.
Yes,
all strung up and
to the songs to Slim Whitman's "I Remember You."
Yeah, and then from
Mary,
there,
we
everything.
see Mary.
Yes.
Yep.
Everything is in slow motion.
Yeah,
and
Mary's tied
song.
up. Covered in blood, bodies, cheerleaders, and everyone else. Yeah, I guess this is where they're revealing the 1,000 corpses. Yeah.
There aren't 1,000, but okay.
There's not 1,000.
And
And then, it's a horrific scene. It's a horrific scene.
And Nash calls to Wydell over the walkie, and then obviously at that point, Mama Firefly knows, it's time. So as Wydell turns to talk into his walkie, so he's got his eye off Mama Firefly, she just pulls out the gun and shoots him, and it goes straight through his neck.
Yeah, it's cool. It's good. It's a good kill.
And again, all of this is happening in slow motion.
Yes, it is.
Then, so the other two who are outside, they've kind of, Otis has come across them.
They're losing their minds as well, basically throwing up about what they've seen.
Throwing up and just, in this big open space, there's this puddle there, and Otis comes and shoots Don. You have like, at Don's dying moments, these memories of happy family, Christmas with his daughter and all that. He falls down and lies face first in the puddle. Poor actor had to lie in that puddle for the extent of that scene.
Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, all of that. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you have Nash, who, because he's a rookie cop, he's new to it all. So like this guy pulls a gun on him, he just instantly just goes and just gives up. Yeah. So he's kneeling in front of Otis, and Otis has the gun pointed to his head, and it's a
drone shot or helicopter shot, I guess, at that time, up above bird's eye view. Yeah.
Massive bird's eye view, so high up above.
Yeah.
And the song fades out.
Can see the whole farm.
And it just holds. On that for such a long time.
30 seconds, Dorian. It was exactly 30 seconds. Yeah.
It holds on that, and then finally Otis pulls the trigger.
All right. Question.
Kills Nash.
Too long or right amount of time for that hold, for that kill?
I mean, I like it. It does go on for a long amount of time. But I've always liked that sequence.
Yeah, I did. I liked it as
Mm.
well. People argue that you could have halved it, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
But nah, this is a movie of indulgence, as we've pointed
Yeah.
out, definitely. And he wanted to
Yeah.
try it that shot, yeah, and I thought it was effective.
Mm.
And if you want to base it on character motivation, Otis would revel in that
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
Yeah, to point blank execute a cop in the head. He's
Yes.
gonna relish that, so I
Yes.
think it's justified. Yeah, great shot, definitely a great shot. Probably maybe the best, maybe my favorite kill, but we'll get to that. Yeah, 30 seconds, boom. Okay, the Firefly family decide to, okay, so it's ritual time pretty much at this stage,
Yes.
yeah? So this is the third act, if you will, yes, the conclusion. All right, again, if I've missed anything, let me know. Otis skins Don and wears his flesh like a full body cast, yeah? And he starts kissing Don's daughter, who is Denise.
Mm. Yeah, they're
Yes.
all dressed up
Yeah.
in rabbit suits and tied
Rabbit
up.
suits, yes,
Yeah,
swinging,
yeah,
three of them
it's
swinging from the
Halloween.
rafters.
It's
I
yeah,
loved
it's
it.
Halloween.
Absolutely
They're
love
all
it.
wearing they're
Yeah,
all wearing their Halloween
so
costumes.
good. You know how much I love
Um,
spooky, fucked up bunny
yeah,
shit.
yeah.
I thought this
And
was
then yeah, and
great.
then Otis comes down the stairs and is just spouting typical
Yeah.
Otis isms.
Again, TCM Ed Gein bodysuits
Mm,
of victims. Yes, little
yeah, yeah,
homage
and
all to that, of course.
it's still bloody. It's still bloody. It isn't
Yeah.
like turned into leather. It is
No.
fresh and bloody. And yeah, and then
Yeah.
he's coming up on Denise and is kissing all up in her. And he
Which is
pulls back
fucked. It's
because pulls
fucked.
back the
Yeah.
top half of this face.
Yeah.
Because Denise has realized that this is her father's skin that Otis is wearing.
So fucked.
Yeah. And he's like, the boogeyman is real.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all true. The boogeyman is real,
Yeah,
and you've
man is
found
real.
him. What did you think of
Found
that
him.
moment? Because that's Otis's
Oh,
big
I like
close
it.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
it. Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was very cool, but I couldn't stop thinking about Nightbreed. Everything is
Oh,
true.
yeah,
Oz is over the
yeah.
rainbow. All that sort of that moment, that little spiel by that dude,
Yeah,
just couldn't help think of that.
yeah.
But I'm still very cool. Still very cool. Okay, so at this point, Rufus is driving around wildly in Wydell's police car. Again, no shirt, so the police uniform is very small on him. See his chest.
Yeah,
Funny.
that's his Halloween costume. He's
That's
a
his
police officer. And then and Tiny's
he's
wearing
drunk.
a shirt.
He's drunk
yeah,
out of his mind as well at this point. Yes, they all are.
Tiny's at one point. Tiny's wearing a shirt that says "cheap ass Halloween costume" on it.
Yeah, that's right.
Which
The shirts are great.
I don't know if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
like
the shirts are
throughout all
great.
of Rob
Yes.
Zombie's stuff. If you've got characters wearing graphic t-shirts with like some kind of slogan or whatever on them, they're always fantastic.
Yeah,
And a lot of the time you can buy those from Rob Zombie's merch store.
Can you read?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know.
Cool.
I don't know if they're
might have a look at
which
that.
ones are currently available, but like I've been following him on Instagram for a long time. And so when those are available in store, he's posting about it and saying, "Hey, like check this shit out. If you want to buy them, you can."
That's cool because I've been wanting some more movie shirts. So that's that's a cool rec. Thank you. Now, this is a cool moment, cool scene. Baby goes out and buys liquor from a man named Goober.
Goober.
From,
it's actually J Uber. Yeah, G Uber, but like my co-worker just wrote an O on there, so now it says Goober. Fucking asshole.
It's from the store
place is called Red Hot Pussy Liquor.
That's it. Thank you. And this is where you get Baby, another one of Baby's famous lines. I like to get fucked up
and do fucked up shit.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. But yes, it's indeed ritual time. Now, this is where Otis is dressed up as Papa Emeritus. How do you say it? Papa
Emeritus.
Thank you.
Emeritus. He may as well be.
Yeah, he looks great. He looks great in this costume.
Yeah, this big, long, like bright red robe.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. That's the thing with Otis. He's managed to pull off being this hellbilly, filthy ass hit, but looking dope as fuck, looking slay throughout all three movies. Now all the rest are dressed up as well. They dress up Jerry, Mary, and Denise in the bunny costumes. They're in their graveyard. Yeah. Now this ritual is this isn't an insult. It's as occult as Black Sabbath. It's very much a
Yeah.
Black Sabbath occult ritual.
Yeah.
There are
Yeah.
the 5,000 crucifixes surrounding
Yeah.
them and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not any
It just
particular
yeah, we'll
occult
just put in some
ceremonial
stuff that
ritual.
looks cool.
Yeah, it's just a
Yeah,
whole
it
bunch
just
of
looks
stuff that
cool.
looks cool, including Tiny's Aleister Crowley sounding
Yeah.
tape recording as well.
Yes.
Or
Yes.
it's all thrown in there, yeah.
Yeah.
Now Mary bolts halfway
Mm.
through the ritual, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is where you get the baby chase scene, where you get the
Yes.
run, rabbit, run.
Run, rabbit, run.
Otis does a little bit of
Yeah.
a monologue here.
Yeah.
Baby sort of syncs up with that because her voice becomes supernatural and it's omnipotent. Yeah. It's all throughout the environment that Mary is hearing and that she is in. Yeah, but she gets brutally stabbed to death in the graveyard by Mary. Whilst she's doing the, it's a Grimm's fairy tale, the rabbit
Yeah,
and
she's
the,
telling some story. I'm not familiar with
yeah,
it,
I
but
fucking had it. Sorry, I should have wrote this down, but
Mm.
it's an old Grimm's fairy tale about a young
Mm.
rabbit that tries to marry a girl, and then the girl tricks the rabbit by creating a straw bride and all of this. It doesn't matter because it doesn't sync up with what's happening in the
Yeah.
scene, basically. Again, it's a bunch of cool shit to say, yeah?
Mm.
And Sherry Moon revels in it, yeah? So this is the whole thing with this movie. Does it really make sense? No, but it's a hell of a lot of fun and everyone loves it making it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So then, yes, I mentioned the recording, the Aleister Crowley style recording, which is literally, it says, bury me deep in the ground, and then a whole bunch of other stuff. Yeah. Yes, and they've been lowered down into the underground well-like cavern. Yeah, and I do say well because they're lowered into water in the grave, a watery grave, and then you get more of the 1,000 corpses come along as these very watery, slimy, muddy, like ghouls. I don't know, how would you describe them, Dorian?
Yeah, just very emaciated and looking like desiccated husks of people.
Yeah,
Just you presumably other victims who've
other
been
victims,
left chucked down
basically.
here, left here.
And they grab Jerry and pull him down into the watery depths. Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So you got Denise running around in the catacombs. Yeah. Here's another bizarre, funny, what the fuck moment. Yeah, you get this old dude with a bunny hat, and an old bunny suit comes in with another one, his friend, and then they just strip Denise of her bunny suit and then just amble off slowly.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
like, I mean, like, well, I hope you haven't dirtied this. It is a rental, so we're just here for the bunny suit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, strange. What does it mean? Who knows? But it looked cool. Lots of fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Denise wanders around underground until she becomes upon a room. Now, inside is a bunch of surgery patients. These are Dr. Satan's patients, yes? These patients looked fantastic. Yeah, they looked really fucked up, all fucking blood red, but a mix between blood-stained and like they've been burnt in the desert, various metal contraptions around their head, eating weird shit, looking lobotomized. Really cool, really gruesome. Okay, but then we finally get the reveal of Dr. Satan, a pus-vomiting demon cyborg. Yeah. Satan looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. Dr. Satan. Basically, Jerry is strapped down to a table, operating table. He's basically just brain surgery. Dr. Satan's performing brain surgery on him. And he's like his skull, skin just pulled open, his brain is right there. He's convulsing on the table a bit. Dr. Satan looks really fucking cool. He's got, this like oxygen mask on. He's kind of got all these like arms. He's strapped up to like that space. He clearly can't actually like move from that room. Can't move around all that well.
Yeah,
it looks really fucking cool.
That's a point. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It looks really cool.
Did you know they were going to have Grandpa Hugo as Dr. Satan? Yes, originally in the initial screenplay. But changed it around to have Dr. Hugo as is, I think works better and visually. Yeah, could have worked better in terms of the script, but it's not the movie that it turned out
Yeah.
to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now just then, Dr. Satan's assistant, the professor.
Yes, the professor.
Yes. Sphincter face. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, his skin is like I'm pretty sure that's supposed to be like the father in the
Yes, it
Firefly
is.
clan.
Thank you. Yes,
Yeah.
it's Tiny's father who
Yeah,
burnt him when he was young.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the professor, his skin looks like bright red, like as though it's been like
Oh yeah,
burnt.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
bright
yeah.
red and shiny and
But
really
moist and
inflamed.
slimy and
Yeah.
slick at the same
Yeah.
time. Disgusting.
Yeah, and his face kind of reminds me of those old like World War II gas masks a little bit in terms of like the eye goggles that he has on and everything. He doesn't really have like lips and he's spewing
No. I mean, it is a sphincter like opening for a
phlegm
mouth.
type stuff.
It is that
it's
disgusting.
really, really gross.
Also,
And,
he's very fucking tall and jacked.
Yes.
Yes, this guy's frightening. Yeah. Yes, Mother Firefly's ex-husband. He is a towering demonic cyborg. And attacks Denise with a huge axe.
Fun story about that axe.
Yes. Go for it. I know what you're going to say, but please.
The axe was real. It was not a fake, a prop axe. And the actor playing the professor could not see all that well through those eye goggles. Yeah. So when swinging that axe at the actress who played Denise, they just hoped that she moved out of the way in time because...
Yes.
And obviously she did.
Yeah.
But that was a real axe and it could have ended very differently.
And children, those are Rob Zombie's words, Dorian just reiterated. Hopefully she just moves out of the way in time. Yeah. You should regret that, Zombie. That's a little too Tobey Hooper-like, yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Remember, his cast hated him for 20 years. Yeah. Yeah. But thankfully, yes, the actor playing Denise was fine. Yeah. But the support beam to the cave was not, because he's Professor swings and hits it and everything collapses, rocks, beams, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yes, and it crushes the professor, November the 1st. At dawn, Denise manages to dig to the surface. The dream becomes reality and wanders onto the road. Okay. Before we get into the ending here, do you know about the original ending from the screenplay? Yeah? Basically, it was going to be just like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, even having the same type of vehicle pick her up. Yeah. But he did that intentionally because he wanted the money. He wanted money to make the ending that he put in. And that's actually in this movie. Made it intentionally bad. They went, nah. The studio.
Yeah, this ending is shit. What are you doing?
This is too much of a ripoff. You can't do this. Here's a bunch of money. Do the ending. He goes, and the zombie was like, oh, okay. He runs off and does his ending. Clever. Clever. But the ending that we do get is Captain Spaulding arriving in a pink Cadillac. Yeah. Perfect. He picks her up and the two drive away. He's saying, oh, we'll get you to the hospital, little lady, don't you worry about it.
Because she's saying, oh, I need to go to a doctor, I need to see a doctor, and he's like, oh, don't worry,
they're all dead.
We'll get you to a doctor, just sit back and relax, don't worry about it, kind of thing.
He passes out.
We'll get you. And so she passes out and you're there for a little bit, and then emerging from the back seat,
yes, of course.
They
always come back. Yes, they always come back. Yes, and he does come back, and because the final scene shows Denise back in Dr. Satan's underground laboratory in the chair.
She's the one in the operating chair.
Yes, she screams, but there is no escape. And then the credit sequence, love it or hate it, the end, ellipsis, question mark. No, sorry, my apologies, the end, question mark. Yeah. And of course, it's not the end. It is not the end. And then we get Rob Zombie and Lionel Richie performing Brick House, because why the fuck not?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then credit sequence, much like the opening credits.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you rate it there, Dorian?
I rate it a very high 3.5. So
Yeah,
like
so
more of a 3.75.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't give it a 4 because we're going to touch on
Mm.
the future Firefly movies, and number
Yeah.
2, I think, is better than this one, so I
Yeah.
will have to rate it higher.
Mm.
That's why I'm giving it a 3.5 as well.
Yeah.
But I would say 3.7, 3.8, very fucking
Mm.
satisfying.
Yeah.
Because is it a mess of a movie? Absolutely. But is it
Yeah.
fucking fun if you love this world and
Exactly.
everything within it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would you recommend it to horror fans today who have not seen it?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I would tell them going in, just
Mm.
let everything go and just have
Yeah.
fun. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and you'll love it. Yeah, and we will cover the other 2 Firefly movies,
Mm.
The Devil's Rejects and Three from Hell in the
Yeah.
future. Absolutely. Um, Okay, so I'm going to bring up the image to talk about what we're doing next in terms of the horror iceberg. Do you have any recommendations or anything like that? Anything that you've been watching while I do that you wanted to bring up? Cool if you don't.
Let's see. I mean, I've just mostly been watching like Rob Zombie's stuff.
Yeah, same, same. I've been retouching,
Um,
revisiting.
yeah. Um, I watched Infested, which is on
Okay,
Shudder. It's a French movie.
that's the
It's a
French spider
spider
movie I
spider
was
one.
talking about. I
Yeah,
was meaning. Yes, yes. Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah. I liked it. The basically over the course of it, like the spiders gradually get bigger and bigger. And so once they get to a certain size, they no longer feel icky when you see them. When you see like a shit ton of them, it no longer gives you
Yeah,
that
okay.
kind of
Yeah, yeah,
feeling.
yeah. Okay, okay.
And so the ending of it feels a little bit more of like a standard, like in the way that like those kinds of monster movies from like the
Mm-hmm.
50s turn
Yeah,
very
yeah.
kind of
Sure,
like,
sure, sure, sure,
let's
sure.
go in and save the day and all that kind of stuff. It has that kind of feel to it, and it doesn't have
Okay.
that ickiness, because I'm not an arachnophobe. I'm
No, neither am I.
used to like huntsmen and all those kind of spiders that are that size, like. And
It's
there
Australia,
are
isn't
certain there was
it?
yeah there are certain moments during that movie that I'm like, oh, don't like that.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I mean, if you like Attack the Block, then you might like Infested, because it takes place in like an apartment building that presumably is like low income housing and stuff like that. There's a lot of immigrants, and it's a French
Hmm.
movie, so obviously there's commentary there.
Sure, sure,
And
sure. As
yeah,
they do. Yeah.
yeah. I also watched The First Omen. Once again,
Ah,
like, see, I don't think religious horror is a genre for me.
no.
But
Ah, okay.
because, like, I don't know. I
Yeah.
think the movie was just a little bit overhyped to me. Like, it was good.
Okay.
I liked
Okay.
it, but I was
Okay.
expecting more from it, I
Fair.
think
Okay.
is what it was.
What's
And
better,
yeah, I think
Immaculate or Good Omen? Because as you see, very two
um
similar
yeah,
films
yeah. Oh,
released at the same time. Yeah,
almost
A.
identical
A.
plots.
A.
Almost
Disturbingly
identical
so.
plots.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, The First Omen is better.
Yes.
But just in terms of like that kind of religious horror, doesn't really seem to have any kind of, I don't resonate with it.
Interesting. Yeah, okay.
Um,
Okay.
but
Background, again, as we've touched on in the
yeah,
past. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, all that. All
yeah.
right, interesting, interesting. Myself, yeah, touching, revisiting the Rob Zombie stuff.
Mm.
Um, Last night watched Necrotronic, which is what I'm
Yeah.
recording with the Baron about later on. I don't know if you know that
Yeah.
film. Yeah.
Mm.
Goofy Australian science fiction action kind of horror comedy.
Mm.
Anyway, what I want to recommend is the show Top Boy. Now, it's not
Okay.
horror, but it's a British crime drama about
Mm.
basically teenage kids and young adults dealing drugs in London, in the yards of London and the housing estates, etc.
Mm.
It's not horror, but it's dark. It's
Yeah.
definitely dark
Yeah.
and gritty and
Yeah.
grimy, and I like crime
Mm.
stuff a
Oh,
lot.
yeah. Yeah.
And if you like crime stuff in any
Mm.
capacity
Yeah.
there, children,
Mm.
absolutely
Yeah.
watch this. This is one of the best shows to ever do it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my recommendation.
Mm. Yeah. I
Um,
watched the I mean, I always see it listed on like things of like, disturbing or depressing documentaries. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll finally get around to actually watching it. Dear Zachary,
What's
a
that?
letter to a son about his father.
Oh,
So it's a true documentary thing. Basically this guy, his childhood friend, was murdered by his girlfriend. And then it turned out that she was pregnant with his child. And so initially the documentary was to sort of like, celebrate this man's life. And then they find out about the fact that, oh, here's this baby on the way. Okay, in that case, this documentary is going to be turned into, so then when this kid is older, he'll end up knowing stuff about his father. And
oh,
and then, but then over the course of it, you have like, because the court case for it and all the legal stuff for it was still ongoing over the course of them making the documentary. So all of that unfolding and the way all of that went on. And so because I knew that it was like people listing it as being like, yeah, you want to be miserable, watch this documentary. So I'm
uh-huh,
like, okay,
uh-huh.
it got to a certain point. I'm like, I know exactly what's about to happen. So
Okay.
I'm just like, okay, yeah, sure. But I mean, it's a movie made from the perspective of the people who cared about the murder victim. So obviously it's
Mm-hmm.
entirely
Mm-hmm.
about him. And there's
Mm-hmm.
almost nothing about the actual, like the woman who committed the crime.
Oh, that's
And
annoying. That's kind of annoying.
so
Yeah.
it is a very biased documentary,
Yeah.
which I
Yeah. Yeah.
understand why, because of,
Yes.
the person
Yes.
who made it and everything, but like it's
Yeah.
incredibly biased. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, the system failed literally everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
documentaries are tricky. Yeah,
yeah.
because you want to say be objective because that's the art
Mm,
of
yeah.
documentary. But also, when are
Mm,
documentaries ever
yeah.
objective? How to
Yeah.
Make a
But
Murderer,
I
big
will
example
say,
of all
yeah,
this.
I
Yeah.
will say for this documentary, the way that the events unfold over the course of it is really well done, and it
Okay.
keeps you engaged. Like
Okay.
time just flies by while you're watching it. And yeah,
Okay.
the way that all of those events as it's happening, as they unfold over the course of the whole thing, it's told in a really, really effective way.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay. Cool. I'll
Mm,
keep that in mind.
yeah.
My last recommendation, because I want people to go see it because Australia needs it. If you haven't
Mm,
seen Furiosa, a Mad Max
mm,
saga, then go see it. Yeah. Um, it's cool. Yeah. Fury Road. Fury Road.
mm,
I wasn't as sold on it as everyone else
yeah.
seemed to be
Yeah.
because I prefer the Mad Max movies from back in the day because they
Mm,
actually looks like a post-apocalypse, not a
yeah.
really nice music video as Fury Road
Mm.
kind of did. But I watched Furiosa and it actually made me appreciate Fury
Oh.
Road more because it
Mm,
opens up more of that vision of the Mad Max universe, the
mm,
new vision of it. Yeah. And there's some really cool moments. It's a standard generic action film, there's
yeah.
no real surprises. But it opens up more of the world. It's great to look at. If you're a fan of Fury Road, you will like this film, but it's just not doing very well. And Mad Max
Mm,
needs a franchise. You know what I
mm,
mean? This is the one big one. Wolf Creek's fine, but we
yeah.
need more than that. And Mad Max
Yeah.
is what we have. So let's go support it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, rant about it online, but just go see it. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's my little PSA.
Yeah.
Dorian, I don't know if you have the image for the iceberg up in front of you. But for the
Um,
second tier, we have done so far, we've done this movie. Where am I? Sorry. House of a Thousand Corpses. And we've done the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Hills Have Eyes. We've done all the hillbilly shit.
yeah.
Yeah. So left, we have Saw, one of your personal favorites. We have Tusk. We have The Human Centipede, and we have Midsommar.
Um, hmm,
I'm just looking at the ones that we go into. We have The Human Centipede and The Human Centipede 2 in the next one. That's just maybe an
yeah.
idea to cross over tiers
Yeah.
there. So maybe let's leave
Uh,
that.
I
Saw.
reckon,
Are we
yeah.
ready for
Okay.
Saw?
I reckon we
What
should
do you
do
think?
Midsummer. I reckon we
Oh,
should do
why?
Midsummer because that one is a bit of an outlier
It is.
compared to all the others.
Uh,
because Saw and Hostel, obviously, like the two of them
Yeah,
combined.
torture porn,
Yeah.
sure.
And I think that Tusk leads into the Human Centipede quite well.
Yes, it does. All right, you've sold me. You've sold me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Midsommar. Interesting. Is this our first art house horror? Yeah, it
think,
is.
yeah.
Because there's The Ring and Grudge, but they're J
Mm.
horrors. That's
Yeah.
Japanese horror, yeah? So this is what we would call our first elevated horror from the 2010s, that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes, with Mr. Ari Aster.
Mm.
I love Midsommar, spoiler, but yes,
Yeah.
so I'm keen on that. Yes. Okay. Cool. Yeah, all right. So yeah, I'll touch base with you when you come back from Melbourne. Have a great trip. Yeah, what do we have coming? We have Necrotronic, that's with me and Baron, and with me and Scream Queen coming out after this one. They're Children of Popcorn. We have Long Weekend, The Long Weekend, an old Ozploitation classic. Yes. If you want to know what I feel about those movies, then stay tuned. Any last words, Dorian?
No.
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 Yes. What did he say? We are the boogeyman. Good night. Cool. All right, so I'll just stop the recording. Whoa.